Hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome back to the podcast. Hey, how many people out there have issues with property taxes? You know, sick of paying them. It shouldn't be lawful to pay property taxes because you own your house or you bought your house. This might be something you want to watch.
One is going to be on Title 31 United States Code Section 742, and we're going to rattle it off. If you want the argument later, you'll have to get back with us, okay? Title 31 United States Code, and we're going to quote it. Except as otherwise provided by law, all stocks, bonds, treasury notes, and other obligations of the United States government shall be exempt from state, municipal, and local authority. This exemption extends to every form of taxation that would require either the obligations or the interest thereon, or both be considered directly or indirectly in the computation of the tax. See Memphis Bank versus State of Tennessee at L. Garner. Notice this is Memphis Bank versus State of Tennessee at L. Garner. Everybody got that? That's recorded at volume 459, U.S., page 392. Okay, right here. Can you see that? Okay. Now, what this case is this is a Supreme Court case that says that Title 31 United States Code Section 742 is the supreme law of the land. And it does so on a diversity of tax arguments based on discriminatory franchise of bond holdings. But basically what the Supreme Court said was Title 31 Section 742 was the supreme law of the land. And recorded right in here is exactly what I just quoted to you. Right here, except as otherwise provided by law. Notice it says all stocks, bonds, treasury notes, and other obligations of the United States shall be exempt from state taxation by or under state or municipal or local authority. Now, what does this mean? What are they talking about here? This exemption extends to every form of taxation that would require that either the obligations or the interest thereon or both be considered directly or indirectly in the computation of the tax. This is a unique tax argument. See, when the states went off the Article 1, Section 10 gold and silver standard, you can't pay anyway because of Michigan Compiled Laws Act 21.153. You cannot tender anything other than gold or silver coin to an officer of the government without being a party to a felony. On top of that, how do they figure the taxes? Let's look at our property taxes. This is a big issue. A lot of people get involved with this property taxes. They're tired of being taxed right out of their home. This tax argument is specifically for you. They come to your house, they set a value on your house, they tell you that, your house is worth $100,000, so we're going to tax it at a 50% interest, which would be $50,000. That's a 50% amortization value. We'll figure your house is a $50,000 bracket area, and then we're going to go 7 points on that, 7%, or whatever the percentage is. Now, stop for a second here. How did they figure the value on your house? Well, they said $50,000. There is no dollars. What dollars? You ain't got no dollars. You got dollars? I ain't got no dollars. Dollars of what? Dollars of coffee beans? I don't think so. The bottom line is they talking Federal Reserve notes, and they're putting the commodity item at the reserve notes. Now, what did they just do? Except as otherwise provided by law. All stocks, bonds, treasury notes. What is a Federal Reserve note? It's a treasury note. And other obligations of the United States. What obligations? Title 12, Section 411 says the said notes shall be deemed to be obligations of the United States government. Whoops. Now wait a minute. Let's look at this again. Except as otherwise provided by law, all stocks, bonds, treasury notes, and other obligations of the United States shall be exempt from taxation by or under state or municipal or local authority. Does that mean they can't figure a tax by using obligations to the United States government? You're right. You're absolutely right. This exemption extends to every form of taxation that would require either the obligations or the interest thereon, or both be considered directly or indirectly in the computation of the tax. Now, what are they doing when they figure this 50% amortization value, and then they add so many points percent, and they attack that on, and then they say, well, you owe us this much. Aren't they using Federal Reserve notes indirectly? They are, aren't they? And they're forbidden from doing that. And the Supreme Court says this is the supreme law of the land. And guess what, folks? This case was originally brought in the matter of People versus Shepard out of Lansing. And after that case, they went in all the law books and they pulled out Title 31, Section 742. That's how scared they are of this title. And we went to Shepard Citations, and we noted that in Shepard Citations there was no note that says annulled, repealed, or otherwise transferred to some other law. There's a hole there, folks. It starts at Title 31, Section 734, and then there's a hole, and then it goes to 752. What happened here? They went in all the law books and pulled this argument out. Why do you think they did that? Because every state in the Union that went off the gold and silver standard under Article 1, Section 10 was locked out of taxing the citizenry in any capacity by the use of obligations of the United States government. That's the only thing you got in your hand, folks. So rather than play that game, they went in all the law books and pulled it out. Then they went and shepherded citations, and instead of putting a note down there as to what happened, they just created a void. What is that evidence of? Fraud. Fraud. Does not fraud void the contract? Last time I checked, it did.
You heard him. They were so scared of this, they took it out and hid it, which then they committed fraud, which voids all contracts. It's in the Constitution. So anybody's having paying property taxes and stuff should be reading up on this and fixing it real quick. But I advise you to go down to your DMV and get your driver's license renewed. And after your name you sign, put U.D. And then you want to put 1-207 without prejudice. And that locks you back into the common law, which is the Constitution. Because that's, when you signed that and didn't know about it, it puts you into their bullshit. Yeah. Hey, love you guys. Read up on this. Go to the law library. I don't think my town has one, but I'm going to check all around just to make sure. And get these books. Yeah. Read. See you.